Let's look at a 5,000-year-old map of America discovered in Egypt long before Columbus set sail.
These maps were largely based on much older source maps. We're talking about maps that were drawn roughly between the 1300s and the 1700s.
This artifact raises interesting issues regarding the scope of ancient Egyptian knowledge and expedition. Who made this map, and how did they have such extensive knowledge of the Americas? Today, we will uncover the mysteries of this cryptic map. Its detailed features allow us to understand the early civilizations. Prepare to be intrigued by insights that may revolutionize our understanding of ancient sailing, cultural trade, and global linkages.
It's interesting because we know that the Egyptians had boats.
Yeah.
And so, if there were boats 4,500 years ago, why do we think that they didn't try them out in the ocean? That doesn't make any sense.
Its presence in maps based on much older source maps that actually show the world as it looks during the last ice age.
The ancient civilization and its culture. The ancient Egyptian civilization is well known for its astounding achievements, particularly the creation of huge pyramids that continue to amaze and captivate us today. However, recent findings indicate that their knowledge and influence stretched well beyond Egypt's borders, possibly reaching the beaches of the Americas long before Christopher Columbus's historic trip. This revelation originates from conversations led by Joe Rogan, who unearthed proof of a 5,000-year-old map of America found in Egypt. This discovery has far-reaching ramifications, calling into doubt ancient Egyptian capabilities, their awareness of world geography, and the scope of their relationships with other civilizations. Ancient Egypt, generally viewed through the lens of its towering buildings and complicated hieroglyphs, was also a culture that advanced in many sciences and the arts. Their understanding of astronomy includes knowledge of intricate astronomical phenomena, such as equinox precession and ecliptic obliquity. These findings indicate a comprehensive comprehension of the cosmos, which is required for navigation and even global mapping. The Nagata culture, while unfamiliar to many, has caused major debate among archaeologists and historians. The Nagata civilization prospered near the lush banks of the Nile River during the late Neolithic and early Chalcolithic periods, roughly 4,000 years ago. Their strategic location afforded an abundance of natural resources, resulting in a community that excelled in agriculture, ceramics, and animal husbandry. Evidence suggests that they grew crops such as wheat and barley and reared livestock such as sheep and goats, indicating a settled lifestyle conducive to technological and cultural progress. Pottery pieces recovered throughout the Nagata periods show not only functional skill, but also exquisite motifs that indicate their cultural sophistication. These artifacts reveal information about their social structures and technological capabilities, implying a society capable of sophisticated artistic expression and useful innovation. One of the most intriguing features of Nagata culture is its probable impact on the early development of Egyptian statehood. Archaeological evidence from the Nagata III period suggests the beginnings of social stratification and centralized leadership. Grand tombs and ceremonial structures discovered during this period imply the presence of a ruling elite, as well as the emergence of a hierarchical system that would eventually define ancient Egyptian rule. The discovery of a 5,000-year-old map of America in Egypt deepens our understanding of ancient civilization's capabilities and relationships. Joe Rogan's conversations focused on the map's significance, including questions regarding its makers, its information, and how ancient Egyptians learned about faraway regions such as America. Such a map calls into question traditional tales of early transoceanic travel and trade, forcing historians to reassess the scope of ancient maritime exploration and cultural interchange. The idea that ancient civilizations separated by huge distances could have knowledge of one another is not new. The developments of the Nagata culture, followed by the ascent of ancient Egypt, demonstrate the possibility for cross-cultural exchanges and ideas spread across millennia. These encounters may have been aided by commercial networks, technical exchanges, or even exploratory trips along coastlines and across oceans. Exploring these possibilities reveals that ancient cultures were not isolated entities, but rather participants in a larger network of cultural exchange and intellectual inquiry. The discovery of the American map in Egypt calls into question ancient civilizations' capabilities and contributions to world history. It encourages us to reassess the stories of discovery and adventure, recognizing the creativity and curiosity that crossed geographical barriers and brought disparate cultures together. This revelation has far-reaching ramifications, touching on topics such as human creativity, cultural transmission, and the pursuit of knowledge that transcends time and location. It inspires us to consider the interconnection of human history and the lasting impact of ancient civilizations whose achievements continue to inspire and enchant us today. The ancient Egyptian civilization and the Nagada culture represent the pinnacles of human development during antiquity. Their contributions to science, art, and governance paved the way for future civilizations and left an indelible stamp on our collective view of history. The discovery of a 5,000-year-old map of America and Egypt adds an intriguing chapter to this ongoing story, forcing us to reconsider our beliefs about ancient civilizations and their capabilities. It emphasizes the importance of archaeological research and multidisciplinary collaboration in unraveling the secrets of the past and broadening our knowledge base. The discovery of the Nagada. In 1894, Sir William Matthew Flinders Petrie, a renowned explorer and archaeologist, began a major excavation near the Nile Valley that would drastically alter our understanding of ancient civilizations. His rigorous approach and pioneering methods transformed archaeology, especially in unearthing the mysteries of the Nagada culture. Petrie's digs centered on Nagada civilization prehistoric towns, which were ultimately identified as such. This period, which began approximately 4000 BC and lasted through the late Neolithic and early Chalcolithic periods, was a watershed moment in the evolution of ancient Egyptian society. The Nagada people lived on the fertile banks of the Nile River, making use of its many resources to build a successful agricultural and pastoral civilization. One of Petrie's most astounding finds was a huge cemetery with roughly 2,000 graves, an extraordinary find at the time. This cemetery offered significant information about Nagada burial practices and social stratification. The tombs ranged from crude pits to magnificent wooden constructions, suggesting significant disparities in wealth and position among the Nagada people. Such variations highlighted a structured society in which individuals were buried with items believed necessary for their journey into the afterlife, such as pottery, tools, and weapons. Among the artifacts discovered, one of the most notable was the unusual black-topped redware pottery. This pottery style, known for its attractive appearance and practical use, became associated with the Nagada culture and reflected their excellent ceramic methods. Beyond their utilitarian value, these ceramics included complex decorations that revealed the Nagada people's creative sensibility and cultural sentiments. Petrie's diligent recording procedures ensured that the specifics of these findings were recorded for future generations. His painstaking sketches, descriptions, and photographs of Nagada artifacts generated extensive material that is still useful to archaeologists and historians today. These records not only chronicled the Nagada civilization's material culture, but also helped us grasp its technological achievements, social practices, and religious beliefs. In addition to pottery and burial traditions, Petrie discovered hieroglyphic glyphs, which represent early written language. These symbols, which preceded those associated with ancient Egypt, marked a watershed moment in the evolution of Egyptian script and language. They provided critical insights into the origins and evolution of writing in the Nile Valley, establishing the groundwork for future research in ancient Egyptian linguistics and epigraphy. Petrie's excavations showed the Nagada people's architectural prowess in addition to their artifacts. They built solid mud brick constructions in well-organized villages, demonstrating a level of urban planning and societal organization that had previously been overlooked for their time. The form and design of these settlements affected future urban development in ancient Egypt, resulting in the emergence of major cities and architectural styles. Sir William Matthew Flinders Petrie's excavations yielded a wealth of artifacts and insights about the Nagata culture. His discoveries not only increased our understanding of ancient Egyptian history, but also demonstrated the intricacy and inventiveness of early human communities along the Nile. The trade and connections. The Nagata culture, famed for its sophisticated craftsmanship and extensive commercial networks, had a significant impact on ancient Egyptian history. Their skilled ability to produce high-quality items and build broad trading lines laid the groundwork for the Old Kingdom's economic prosperity. Through trade, they acquired exotic minerals such as lapis lazuli from Afghanistan and obsidian from ancient Ethiopia, demonstrating their global ties. These trading networks fostered not only economic exchange but also cultural encounters and the spread of ideas. The flow of products and information helped integrate various populations along the Nile River, eventually leading to the formation of a coherent Egyptian state. This time saw significant cultural and economic growth, laying the groundwork for the Old Kingdom's colossal achievements, such as the construction of pyramids and the creation of intricate governmental structures. Furthermore, current hypotheses show that some Nagata people were aware of and may have visited America, challenging long-held historical beliefs. This interesting hypothesis calls into doubt early maritime exploration and interactions between ancient civilizations, with the potential to reshape our understanding of global history and ancient societies' interdependence. The paintings reveal the truth. Long before European explorers set sail, there is evidence that implies ancient Egyptians may have had knowledge of the Americas. This knowledge may have been passed down from generation to generation. Hierakonpolis, Hunis, a significant prehistoric metropolis that served as a royal home and capital of Upper Egypt during the early dynastic era, is the location where large finds of ancient paintings have been made. These paintings provide credence to the astounding assertion that was made. The busy urban center known as Hierakonpolis was distinguished by the presence of temples, housing structures, and other buildings that served a necessary purpose. The religious significance of the city was highlighted by the presence of a temple that was built out of mud, brick, and stone, which was one of its many temples. The artifacts that were discovered here, on the other hand, have completely caught the attention of historians and scientists since they provide insights into ancient global interactions and the sharing of information. There is a collection of paintings that were found at Hierakonpolis that portray maps of the world. These paintings are of particular interest. These maps, when examined in great depth, exhibit an astounding level of accuracy and precision in their depiction of continents such as Africa, Europe, Asia, and America. The accuracy of these ancient mapmakers is further highlighted by the fact that they depicted geographical features such as the Nile River and the Mediterranean Sea. The fact that these paintings have the ability to serve purposes more than only decorative ones is what makes them genuinely extraordinary. One school of thought among academics is that these maps would have been utilized for the purpose of navigating the high seas and directing maritime commerce. This would indicate that ancient Egypt possessed a level of seafaring knowledge and capacity that had not been recognized before. Although Christopher Columbus is traditionally credited with being the first non-American to reach the continent, the presence of America on these ancient Egyptian maps presents a challenge to the conventional historical narratives that have been passed down through generations. The discovery of such maps raises some intriguing concerns regarding the manner in which ancient Egyptians obtained information about distant regions, as well as the extent of their global travel and trade networks. These discoveries provide insight into the connection of ancient civilizations and the cultural and scientific accomplishments that they jointly achieved, despite the immense distances that separated them. There is evidence that ancient Egyptians had a comprehensive understanding of geography and mapping, as evidenced by the existence of precise maps of continents spanning a variety of places. This evidence pushes the bounds of commonly accepted historical knowledge. Hierakonpolis, which was once known as Nekhen, is the location where an astonishing artifact, a map of America that dates back 5,000 years, was found. This finding is a significant step towards comprehending ancient cartography and the exchange of information across different continents. Hierakonpolis, which was located in Upper Egypt, was a thriving religious and political center during the time before the dynasties had come into being. None of its many treasures has been able to enthrall historians and archaeologists to the same extent as the map paintings that were uncovered within its sacred borders when they were unearthed. These paintings, which were painstakingly produced using natural pigments and exact line work, not only portray the Nile River and well-known locations in Egypt, but they also depict the outlines of the American continent, Europe, Asia, and Africa with a remarkable degree of accuracy. The fact that these ancient maps include the continent of America raises some fascinating concerns about the extent to which ancient civilizations were able to navigate and understand their geographical surroundings. How was it that the ancient Egyptians were able to have such fine cartography capabilities while they lived thousands of years from now? Are there any indications that they participated in transoceanic journeys or maintained cultural and commercial relationships with other regions, particularly the Americas? There is a challenge to the prevalent beliefs of ancient isolationism brought about by the accuracy of the maps, which include detailed, well-known geographical features such as the Mediterranean Sea and the mountain ranges of Europe and Asia. It implies a globe linked by trade, exploration, and cultural exchange, a world in which knowledge of distant lands and seas was not only possible but actively pursued. Furthermore, the creative style and techniques used in these map paintings provide insight into the sophistication of ancient Egyptian culture. The use of natural pigments and great attention to detail shows a thorough understanding of cartography as both an art and a science. These maps were more than just ornamental objects. They were most likely used to aid in navigation and diplomatic contacts over long distances. The paintings at Hierakonpolis provide solid proof that ancient Egyptians had extensive knowledge of the world, including the Americas, long before European exploration. The ancient Egyptian ships. Ancient Egypt's legacy stretches beyond its famous pyramids to include major naval exploits. Along with their mastery of monumental construction, the ancient Egyptians were expert shipbuilders and navigators. The Nile River, which was essential to their everyday lives and commerce, served as a training ground for perfecting their sailing skills. The Khufu ship, discovered near the Giza Pyramid complex, is one of the most iconic examples of ancient Egyptian sailing prowess. This well-preserved vessel from circa 2500 BC demonstrates Egypt's superior shipbuilding capabilities. Its design illustrates the Egyptians' grasp of naval architecture and their capacity to build large, strong ships capable of sailing the Nile and possibly venturing beyond. Historical documents support Egypt's seafaring ambitions. Queen Hatshepsut sponsored a voyage to the land of Punt, approximately 1470 BC, which gives compelling proof of Egypt's long-distance maritime commerce ventures. Punt, which was most likely located in modern-day Somalia or further afield, provided exotic products that enhanced Egyptian society while also demonstrating their capacity to build and maintain wide trading networks. The reliefs from the Punt expedition show massive Egyptian ships loaded with exotic foodstuffs, emphasizing their expertise in deep-sea travel. These reliefs not only demonstrate the Egyptians' great mastery of shipbuilding, but also their strategic exploitation of sea routes to access precious resources in distant regions. Ancient Egypt's seafaring successes contributed significantly to its cultural and economic growth. They used advancements in shipbuilding and navigation to take advantage of the Nile River and explore beyond its shores to participate in long-distance trading and exploration. Finding similar pyramids. The similarities in architecture that can be seen between ancient Egypt and the Americas, particularly in the construction of pyramids, offer intriguing clues that suggest the possibility of cultural linkages or influences. Pyramids, which are enormous buildings that were constructed with great accuracy and serve as huge tombs and religious centers, are Egyptian landmarks that have gained worldwide recognition. To a similar extent, in the Americas, there are constructions such as the Pyramid of the Sun at Teotihuacan, Mexico, which are remarkable instances of ancient engineering and religious devotion. In addition to their colossal grandeur, the pyramids of Egypt and Mesoamerica share a number of other traits. Large stone blocks were used in their construction, and they were precisely aligned with various astronomical events. In ancient Egypt, pyramids were arranged in such a way that they were aligned with Orion's belt, which represented connections to the afterlife and other gods. Similarly, the pyramids of Mesoamerica were arranged in such a way that they were aligned with solar and lunar phenomena, which reflected the profound astronomical knowledge and spiritual beliefs of their civilizations. Both cultures put a considerable amount of weight on these gigantic monuments for a variety of reasons, including religious, social, and cosmological considerations, as suggested by the parallel construction processes and celestial alignments involved. The similarities raise questions about the possibility of cross-cultural exchanges or the sharing of ancestral information that could have affected architectural methods on other continents. Exploring these architectural connections broadens our understanding of past civilizations' capacities and interconnectedness via trade, exploration, and cultural dissemination. While clear proof of direct contact between ancient Egyptians and Mesoamericans is still difficult, these architectural parallels provide promising pathways for future research and re-evaluation of early global linkages and exchanges. Other similarities that support the theory. Despite being separated by enormous distances and oceans, ancient Egypt and Mesoamerican cultures have startling similarities that suggest potential cultural exchanges or parallel developments in human history. One noticeable similarity is that they both use advanced writing systems. While Egypt is well known for its hieroglyphs, which were widely employed to record historical events and religious literature, Mesoamerican civilizations, such as the Aztecs and Maya, developed complex hieroglyphic systems. These writing systems were both intricate and sophisticated, serving as critical tools for chronicling their histories, religious beliefs, and cultural behaviors. Both Egypt and Mesoamerica had extensive and complex pantheons of gods and goddesses. In Egyptian mythology, deities such as Ra, Isis, and Anubis dominated daily life, overseeing everything from the sun and motherhood to the afterlife and embalming. Similarly, Mesoamerican tribes worshipped a wide variety of gods, each related to natural forces, agriculture, battle, and fertility. These gods were fundamental to religious rites and cultural identity, representing deeply held spiritual beliefs and societal norms. Another obvious similarity is their modern agriculture methods. The Nile River was ancient Egypt's lifeblood, supporting agriculture with sophisticated irrigation systems that allowed for the development of staple crops such as wheat and barley. In Mesoamerica, civilizations created similarly complex irrigation techniques to preserve crops like maize, beans, and potatoes, which were critical to their nutrition and economic wealth. Furthermore, both civilizations excelled at craftsmanship and artistry. Egyptian artisans were known for their complex jewelry, pottery with symbolic motifs, and massive statues of pharaohs and gods. Similarly, Mesoamerican societies created fine carvings, intricate sculptures, and monumental stone heads to demonstrate their mastery of art and workmanship. These commonalities in writing systems, religious beliefs, agricultural methods, and creative achievements demonstrate the depth and sophistication of ancient civilizations across continents. They also raise intriguing issues regarding possible contacts, impacts, or shared human experiences that cut across geographical boundaries and enrich the tapestry of world history. An adventurous expedition. Thor Heyerdahl was a daring adventurer who attempted to demonstrate that ancient Egyptians could have sailed to the Americas. His most famous trip, the Kon-Tiki voyage in 1947, was a bold attempt to show that the Polynesian islands were established by people from South America rather than Asia, as is usually assumed. Heyerdahl and his 5 colleagues built a raft called Kon-Tiki from materials available to ancient South Americans, such as balsa wood. The raft was based on designs discovered by Spanish conquistadors and represented in old drawings and models. Setting sail from Peru, Kon-Tiki traveled nearly 4,300 miles across the Pacific Ocean in 101 days, eventually reaching the Tuamotu Islands. Heyerdahl saw the success of this expedition as proof that pre-Columbian South Americans could have traveled to Polynesia with the technology and materials available to them. This achievement propelled Heyerdahl to international prominence and solidified his status as a trailblazing explorer. After the Kon-Tiki voyage, Heyerdahl shifted his focus to Egypt. He devised the Ra expeditions to demonstrate that ancient Egyptians were capable of long-distance maritime expeditions. Heyerdahl commissioned the fabrication of two boats, Ra-1 and Ra-2, entirely of papyrus, using techniques thought to have been used by ancient Egyptians thousands of years ago. Heyerdahl recruited a team for the Ra-1 voyage in 1969, setting sail from Africa's west coast. Unfortunately, mechanical difficulties prevented the journey from reaching its intended destination in the Caribbean. Undeterred by this defeat, Heyerdahl launched a second attempt in 1970 with Ra-2, departing from Morocco. This time, the group successfully sailed the Atlantic Ocean, reaching Barbados after 57 days at sea. The expedition not only confirmed Heyerdahl's idea, but also revealed that ancient Egyptians might have crossed the Atlantic, utilizing their navigational abilities and primitive technology. Heyerdahl's explorations didn't end with the Ra expeditions. He set off on a third expedition, sailing from Iraq's Tigris River, crossing the Arabian Sea, and arriving at the Red Sea. This 4,000-mile expedition was intended to demonstrate how ancient Sumerians could have spread their culture across Southwest Asia and the Arabian Peninsula using comparable reed boats. Thor Heyerdahl's daring missions defied conventional historical interpretations and demonstrated ancient civilizations' marine exploration. His commitment to duplicating historical trips using conventional materials and procedures continues to stimulate exploration and scientific research into prior societies' capabilities. The shocking discovery in the mummies. Traces of cocaine and nicotine discovered in Egyptian mummies have sparked a debate regarding the possibility of interaction between ancient Egypt and the Americas. This revelation has been the subject of a shocking revelation. The hair, skin, and bones of mummies that date back 3,000 years were found to contain these chemicals, which are derived from tobacco and coca plants, both of which are indigenous to South America. Reputable toxicologist Dr. Svetlana Balabanova was the driving force behind this investigation that was carried out at the Munich Egyptian Museum. There was initial skepticism over the findings. Nonetheless, they gave compelling proof that ancient Egyptians were familiar with these plants from the New World, despite the fact that they originated in a different geographical region. The traditional assumption that the only places where ancient civilizations came into contact with one another were in Africa and Eurasia is called into question by this study. The implications suggest two possible scenarios for how these substances reached Egypt: a direct transoceanic trade route where ancient mariners navigate across the Atlantic, possibly aided by ocean currents similar to those used by Vikings and Polynesians in their respective explorations, or an indirect route involving multiple trading posts across Europe. The debate that has surrounded these discoveries highlights the level of sophistication that ancient maritime trade networks possessed, as well as the possible extent of their operations. It compels us to reevaluate the ways in which ancient Egyptians interacted with people from other civilizations and the extent to which they were capable of sailing. This revelation presents a challenge to our understanding of the technological and navigational capabilities of past civilizations and stimulates additional investigation into the extent to which the world was connected during ancient times. The discovery of cocaine and nicotine in Egyptian mummies raises the question of whether ancient Egyptians had the knowledge and resources to travel large distances across continents. The Nubian egg. Let us explore the amazing story of the Nubian egg in depth. This extraordinary artifact, discovered more than a century ago by British archaeologist Malib Chesilft in 1907, is now housed in southern Egypt's Museum of Nubia. The Nubian egg, created approximately 7,000 years ago, is nothing short of a masterpiece. It was originally fashioned from an ostrich eggshell and covered with elaborate and abstract motifs. The peculiar engravings on the Nubian egg are essential to its mystery. Its surface is adorned with 3 unique triangles, each with horizontal lines. These triangles have prompted great conjecture among scholars, with many claiming they represent the famed Giza pyramids. This concept, however, presents a significant challenge to conventional historical chronology. According to conventional archaeology, Pharaoh Khufu built the Great Pyramid of Giza approximately 4,600 years ago. This contrasts sharply with the Nubian egg's age, which predates the pyramids by more than 2,000 years. The consequences of this mismatch are astonishing, forcing researchers to question whether the pyramids are actually much older than previously thought, or if the triangles on the egg have a different symbolic meaning. Doubts about how the pyramids were dated add to the enigma. Carbon-14 dating, which is often used for organic materials, may not yield accurate results for stone constructions due to its limits. Furthermore, suspicions of evidence tampering, such as those involving Colonel Howard Weiss's contentious discovery of inscriptions within the Great Pyramid, put doubt on the credibility of established historical narratives. Geological evidence adds an extra dimension of mystery. Dr. Robert Schoch, a geologist and professor at Boston University, has conducted considerable research on the weathering patterns of the Sphinx, a magnificent building near the Giza pyramids. Schoch's findings imply that the Sphinx may have been subjected to extensive rainfall-induced erosion, indicating a much wetter climate in ancient periods. According to geological records, such climatic circumstances have not existed on the Giza Plateau for thousands of years, meaning that the Sphinx, and potentially the pyramids themselves, may be older than previously thought. Ancient documents and accounts call into question traditional narratives. Al-Makray, an ancient Egyptian historian, believed that Khufu did not build the Great Pyramid, but rather a pharaoh named Sedef, whom he associated with the biblical character Enoch. This narrative, linked with cosmic wisdom and foresight, implies a comprehensive understanding of astronomy and architecture among ancient cultures, potentially pushing the beginnings of pyramid construction back millennia. As a result, the discovery of the Nubian egg and the ancient map of America in Egypt forced us to reconsider our understanding of ancient history. They force us to reevaluate the dates, accomplishments, and interconnectivity of ancient civilizations, providing tantalizing glimpses into a past in which boundaries were not as rigid as previously imagined. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.